from the UN Secretary General's envoy on young people, who is fresh into her role. So please, let's give a warm round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Ministers, the co-organizers of the event, the Permanent Mission of Denmark, Restless Development and UNDP, and most importantly, the Major Group for Children and Youth and all other youth-led organizations and young people present here. First, let me congratulate Denmark for the excellent work they've been doing, and I wish you all the best for the future work. And also, most importantly, Restless Development for the work that you've been doing on the ground. As an activist in Sri Lanka, I've always personally followed the work you've been doing, used your toolkits also certain times for my consultations, so thank you for that. So my name is Jatma Vikramanayak, and as many of you are aware, I very recently took up my position as the Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and in times facing the largest generation of youth in the world, it is a great opportunity and an honor to be the common factor between young people and the UN system. But most importantly, it's a great responsibility to promote meaningful youth engagement and help elevate the voices of young people, to ensure that their needs and priorities are reflected in the global processes, most importantly in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And this is why today's event, the role of young people in the VNRs, is very important. Today's event builds on previous efforts to make the case for youth-inclusive and youth-focused reporting on SDGs, including the event that took place during this year's ECOSOC Youth Forum, where many in this room were gathered to discuss ways of youth inclusion in national voluntary review processes. The ECOSOC Youth Forum has played a key role in facilitating discussions on the concrete actions needed to realize the SDGs at national, regional, and global levels. It represents the most institutionalized avenue for youth participation in official UN processes and is an important platform for bringing youth and member states together. Its outcomes feeds directly into the high-level political forum. And the ECOSOC Youth Forum has become a turning point in improving the UN system, in making it more accessible to young people. The high-level political forum this year provides an opportunity to review the progress achieved in terms of youth participation in the implementation of the SDGs and showcase lessons learned and national practices. With majority of the 22 national reports submitted to the HLPF in 2016 had some mention of youth, few included in-depth assessment of how youth development and engagement factor into implementing SDGs. This year, 44 member states have volunteered to submit their national reviews on the implementation of the SDGs. Significant progress is being made in setting up institutional arrangements and creating an enabling environment for implementation, and the frequency of references to the inclusion of young people is heartening. But while it is positive that many member states mention youth, we need more detail provided regarding efforts to ensure that the process is inclusive and that engagement is meaningful. It is paramount that member states bring youth delegates to the high-level political forum. And I am delighted that we already heard the Danish youth delegates speaking, and we will also hear the other youth delegates in the room speaking in a minute. And VNRs are complex exercises, and youth delegates can help bridge the gap between young people and these complex discussions. I can tell you from my own experience of being Sri Lanka's first youth delegate to the United Nations that being a youth delegate is as much about proactively being engaged in these complex discussions as much as it is about going back to your country and encouraging your peers to participate in these discussions. Ideally, young people should be in parliaments, political parties, in public administration and government, leading these review processes, leading the implementation processes. But unfortunately, we all know that there are structural barriers that prevent us from participating in these processes. So young people tend to do it informally. As the Danish minister said, youth are not the leaders of tomorrow, but youth are the leaders of today, then we should be given the opportunity to participate, to lead the processes today, not tomorrow, not next year, not the year after. The opportunity should be today and now. So whether this is through their own development work or campaigns to improve youth participation, shadow reporting, citizen-generated data, young people are doing a lot of important work in the ground, and it's very important to understand and recognize the important work they are doing and formally recognize the work that they are doing. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Then I would like to also reassure you that my office will take every possible step to knock on any doors possible to ensure that meaningful youth participation is ensured in the review process of the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you very much.